Hi, I'm Sean Mann, CEO and co-founder of RP1.
And I'm Dean Abramson, RP1's co-founder and chief architect.
At RP1, we're building the world's first metaverse browser, a massively scalable, uncharted platform redefining how we connect, create, and own in the spatial internet.
You're listening to The Edge of Show, where the frontier of Web3 meets the future of immersive tech. Stick around.
Hey, Web3 pioneers, buckle up for today's episode where we're returning Sean Mann and Dean Abramson, the co-founders of RP1. We break down what the metaverse really means in 2025 and beyond, and why RP1 is going beyond the hype and redefining what virtual worlds can actually do. We also talk about the future of AR glasses, spatial services, 3D ownership. Now, RP1 is architecting the infrastructure of the next internet. Lastly, Sean and Dean take us through a deep dive demo of the RP1 Metaverse browser and what this uncharted infrastructure can do. We zoom around the Earth, and then we go into outer space for a moment as well. All this and more on The Edge of Show, where we spotlight the boldest visions bridging XR, Web3, and spatial computing. Cue the intro.
Welcome to The Edge of Show, your gateway to the Web3 revolution. We explore the cutting edge of blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFTs, ordinals, DeFi, gaming, and entertainment, plus how AI is reshaping our digital future. Join us as we bring you visionaries and disruptors pushing boundaries in this digital renaissance. This show is for the dreamers, disruptors, and doers that are pumped about where innovation meets culture. This is where the future begins.
Hello and welcome to The Edge of Show. I'm your host, Josh Krieger, and we feature a variety of top-notch guests and other hosts as well. It's another production of The Edge of Company, a quickly growing media ecosystem powering the pioneers of Web3 tech and culture and responsible for other groundbreaking endeavors like the Outer Edge Innovation Festival in LA and Riyadh. Today's show is very special, and it features Sean Mann, the CEO and co-founder of RP1, a true visionary in the metaverse space with over 25 years of tech and entrepreneurial leadership. Sean was named Innovator of the Year at the WebXR Awards and recognized by Metaverse Insider as one of the top 20 founders shaping the industry. And his co-founder for RP1, Dean Abramson, who's the chief architect, and he has 35 years plus experience designing software and architecting systems with an emphasis on scalability. He has been applying his talents to unraveling the mysteries of the metaverse ever since he first put on a headset back in 2020. And RP1, who's our sponsor today, is building the first metaverse browser, an uncharted, massively scalable platform designed to power persistent, immersive, and AI-native virtual experiences. And our sponsor today, RP1, is building the first metaverse browser, an uncharted, massively scalable platform designed to power persistent, immersive, and AI-native virtual experiences. They're not just redefining how we connect online, they're building a new spatial infrastructure for the new internet. Guys, it's great to see you guys both again. And you're in LA, I assume. I'm here in Lisbon.
Yes, we're in Los Angeles. Thanks so much for having us, Josh. This is great.
It's been a minute since I've been in LA. How are things going over there?
LA is amazing. It's other than the fires, I think right now, we still got great weather and we still got great places to go to. So we're pretty happy. So LA's doing great.
Good to hear, guys. And I know you've been busy building since we've had you on the show last time with regard to the new spatial web. And, the landscape keeps evolving, right? Since we chatted, we have AR glasses that have announced, AI native avatars happening now. Lots of debates about the open metaverse. I'd love your perspective in terms of what's generally exciting in terms of the shift that you're seeing lately in the space and what's just sort of fluff, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, the XR industry has been saying the same thing over and over again for the last 20 years that, VR is a thing and this is all going to happen. And you kind of get this big excitement and then it kind of dies down. But if you look around and see kind of the facts, this is the first time that you're actually seeing some of the biggest tech companies competing to actually build AR glasses because it's actually going to replace a mobile device. And so you had like Tim Cook, who's been quoted that AR glasses will eventually make the iPhone obsolete. And so if you think about that, that's over, roughly 60 to 70% of their entire business. And so you can imagine one of the largest companies in the world, they have a vested interest to make sure that they're viable, 10 years, 20 years down the road. And so it's not just the XR industry trying to push a message. You now actually have the biggest companies like Google, Meta, Apple, and Microsoft all building towards an XR future where we can actually have these interactive experiences. And so I believe that we're truly at the doorstep of really engaging for the masses in these types of technologies.
That's fascinating. It also gives me a little bit of anxiety, and I'll tell you guys why. I actually have this terrible habit of losing glasses. So I buy the cheapest glasses I can possibly find. And now I have to decide which of these really expensive glasses to purchase. I was thinking about getting those new Ray-Bans that do that auto translation because I've been traveling a lot, and it would be great if I could like translate Portuguese, Russian, Spanish all at the same time. What's your advice here, Sean? Are you holding out too, or have you decided where to invest in these really expensive glasses that I will probably lose quicker than I want to?
If you lose your glasses a lot, maybe you want to just make the leap directly to Neuralink and be one of the first to experiment with that. Yeah. Tell us how it goes. Okay.
Well, I think I'm sure lots of people have anxiety about losing their cell phone. And so I think the AR glasses are right now kind of a side piece. So it's like, it's not as meaningful as what cell phone does for you on a daily perspective. So once AR glasses replace your cell phone, I believe that you will put in the right processes to make sure that you don't lose them and they're charged. No different that people walk around with their cell phones and make sure they got chargers and all the things to make sure that they're always connected. And so I think the same anxiety that some people feel around cell phones, I think will carry over to AR glasses. But I think the Ray-Bans are more of an accessory at this point versus actually truly replacing the cell phone. So when that transition happens, I believe you'll do just great, Josh.
Let's take a pause to shout out one of our favorite partners. For tech innovators facing legal challenges, Zubul Lawler is your go-to law firm. They focus on understanding your technology and business model before addressing legal requirements, specializing in blockchain, AI, VR, AR, quantum computing, and more. Zubul Lawler offers expert guidance in capital raising, IP transactions, M&A, litigation, and compliance. Visit zuberlawler.com, that's ZUBERLAWLER.com for cutting-edge legal solutions. So let's shift gears and talk a little bit about this idea of the metaverse, right? It was really exciting not too long ago when it made it into the dictionary. However, the term is still abstract, and I think people really have a hard time wrapping their arms around what it actually is about. How do you guys at RP1 define the metaverse in a way that cuts through the hype?
Yeah, I think it's really important to make it, as you mentioned, less abstract, right? So that's very understandable. So we know what we're building towards or what it's going to deliver for the world. And if you think about it, we have one worldwide web, which is where all the 2D information resides. And you have a web browser that makes it easy for you to find that content and share it with anyone, anywhere. And so if you think about the metaverse is really just a parallel to the World Wide Web. There will be one large metaverse, which is 3D and spatial content. And you'll need a metaverse browser to find that content and display it and share it with anyone in the world. And if you think about it, it's not making up the term. I think a lot of people have taken the term in different directions, but it really was coined with Snow Crash in one. And really, the idea was one single persistent ecosystem that you can traverse many different experiences, whether in virtual reality or in augmented reality, and bringing the world together in this more immersive content. And so if you think about it that way, it really simplifies really what we're looking at. And so I think that's the best way to try to make it simple. It's really just a parallel to the World Wide Web. And there's really going to be just one metaverse, just like we have one open ecosystem that we call the World Wide Web.
We've actually put a very concise definition on it. And it is what you see of the spatial internet as viewed through a metaverse browser. And since metaverse browsers don't exist and we're working on creating one, once we get that metaverse browser, the metaverse will suddenly appear through it.
Well, that's quite convenient as well. And I will say, I do appreciate this idea that there isn't sort of infinite metaverses, but there is one metaverse. I guess we'll see. where the jury falls out once you guys launch your browser, which we'll talk a little bit more about. One of the interesting components of the browser is that you are referring to a world where things are uncharted and massively scalable. And again, this is fairly technical conversation for the average sort of user that just wants to, open, download, click, enjoy a browsing experience. So what does uncharted and massively scalable really mean, and why is that a breakthrough in the overall space?
Yeah, sharding is a technique or a solution that companies employ when they run out of room or compute power on a single or cluster of computers, right? So if you set out to build a piece of software and you go, oh, I'm going to build this great game and I'm going to handle 1 million people, but soon enough you find out that after 100 people, your servers break down and you cannot get more than 100 people. No matter how much you try, the overall answer tends to be sharded. You then create multiple copies of your game and you put 100 people per game. In the metaverse, when you start dealing with avatars and people that are working in high fidelity, meaning you can move your fingers, you can move your head, you can talk, you're not just performing pre-animated motions, those numbers tend to go down to 20 or less before companies run out of solutions, and they end up sharding their system right around 20 people.
So Dean, what does a company like Roblox do now? How does that compare to your solution?
So again, all these companies typically have some form of sharding in place, and they will deploy Roblox, I think one of many, Second Life, a whole handful of other ones, even Fortnite. They basically chop up their world into a certain number of people that a server can handle. And then when people go in there, the company has either two options. Number one is not let any more people in there or create a second copy of the world. So that when you go into one world, and if your friend comes in after you and is put into a different copy of the world, you have no way to communicate with that person. There's no relationship between two different shards. They're totally separate worlds.
I understand. So at the end of the day, is the scalability that you guys are sort of evoking for the metaverse space about putting more people into one place at one time, or about a more rich visual graphics enhanced experience, or both?
So it's a little bit of both. The founding of our company was based on this technology that we had, which was the ability to do massive scale so that we don't have to shard at all. I mean, we're aiming to, and we believe we can. We can do 100,000 people now on as little as about 30 servers, but there's no limit to the scale. We only have these 30 servers to work with, so we can hopefully get the entire planet into one single shard.
I guess just to play devil's advocate for fun, does the world need to all be in one place at one time? Is that like a problem that we actually need to solve?
So I think if you think about this technology, I think everyone is thinking of it as far as a game. And so the logical thing with the idea of the metaverse, if you think of it as just as a game, is you look at gaming technologies and you're saying, okay, well, how do I get everyone into one specific game? And you're right, Josh. There may be most cases you may only want just your friends or family or coworkers or whatever activity you're doing. It's going to be a limited number of users.
So Times Square can get pretty crowded, right?
Yeah. So this is, if you take away the idea of the metaverse being a game, which is going to be a very, very small percentage of what the metaverse is, it's more about connecting everyone in real time, no matter where you go. So again, going back to the original definition of the metaverse, if it's just a massive ecosystem where there's millions upon millions of locations and experiences, and you seamlessly can walk and teleport and go to these experiences, they're going to be different people everywhere you go. And so imagine with current technology, everything is right now in a snow globe. So if you have a snow globe of 20 people, those people cannot seamlessly connect to others as they move around to different experiences. And so if you think of the holistic picture, the bigger idea of what the metaverse is going to provide, as you move around, you don't know who you're going to want to connect with. If I go to a meeting or I go to a museum or I want to play a game, there are different people from all over the world that I'm going to be engaging with, and I shouldn't have to worry what shard they're on and I'm unable to share my data and interact with them. You need a seamless experience. And this actually goes more when you leave the virtual spaces and think about how AR glasses are going to work. As I move around the real world with my AR glasses, I'm going to connect to different people that either call me or that interact with, and I can't worry about their data being on a shard that I can't interact with. So you need more horizontal scale versus a vertical scale, which is just about one single experience. It's more about connecting the world so I can go in and out of different experiences and not worry who I want to be with while I'm there.
Yeah, essentially you're able to teleport wherever you want to be at any given time, and someone else can teleport to that the same time and moment. Whereas like you don't run into these issues where in some of these movies where someone hits the teleport button, but they're like, oops, they're like 500 years before they were meant to be in that place. You know what I mean? So essentially it's about sort of teleport compatibility in a way. And I guess that sort of leads me to my next question, which is, this sounds like a pretty cool set of features. You can ideally, with the advent of AI and with technology and this globalization, which is, I think we're post globalization at this point. Why do we need a metaverse browser to enable all this? Or what does the metaverse browser that RP1 is building do to sort of enhance this experience or this opportunity?
Yeah, I think there's a handful of things that we have to think about. And I think when you think of a browser, you can't compare it to a platform. And so I think currently we build out a lot of experiences in Roblox or Fortnite where everyone has these types of different experiences that you interact with. But the whole point is, if you think about the World Wide Web, you have standards where you can open up Chrome or Edge or Safari. And once you open up that browser, you have access to all of the websites built by anyone in the world. And those websites don't exist inside of Chrome or inside of Edge. They run on your own web servers. And Chrome's job is to just connect you to wherever you want to go and display that information that's owned and ran by those individuals or companies. And so if you think about the idea of the metaverse, I think the same has to hold true if you're going to allow for an open metaverse versus a closed one. And so the whole idea is the job of RP1 is you don't build in RP1 like you do in Roblox or Fortnite or all these other platforms that you've mentioned. The purpose of RP1 is to be the first and really start creating the standards around an open metaverse where you can build all of your spatial or your metaverse infrastructure on your own servers. And the job of the browser is to be able to take a consumer or an employee or whoever wants to interact with that content and connect them to those servers based on where they're standing in the real world or where they go to in virtual reality. And so it's a very different construct if you think about just how browsers work in general. And the current web browser is not designed to do what I just described whatsoever. In fact, it's designed to do the opposite. It's to segment websites where actually things need to coexist with each other. And that's the purpose of what RP1 is heading towards.
So I guess when you choose a new browser, you can import or export your favorites and your history and things like that. As we sort of look into the future of RP1 sort of in full motion, is there an intercompatibility component with other browsers in some shape or form? Or is this something where there's a major adoption shift towards this new browsing experience and Chrome goes away?
I don't think Chrome will go away. The Metaverse browser is a different product than a web browser, but it serves the same function. It serves the browsing function, which is the ability to open up a single client on your computer that will connect you to unlimited content published by other people without having to install software. The difference being is that a metaverse browser is designed to browse metaverse infrastructure, whereas web browsers are designed to browse web infrastructure. And right now, the whole world runs off of web infrastructure. The browser is just it's just the client side piece, a little piece of the puzzle. Once you open up Chrome and sell it and go out in the internet, there's like a million times more technology behind what's sitting on the other side of your browser. And so the Metaverse browser needs to be standardized. It needs to be adopted globally. We welcome competition. We hope one day there are 3 or 4 or 10 browsers to choose from, and that you will be able to port your favorites back and forth. But the more important thing is that companies, given a new standard, can now know what to program to, and they won't be beholden to being on someone else's platform. I can't think of a single Fortune 500 company that would be willing to build all of their web infrastructure inside of someone else's platform. And similarly, I don't think they would be willing to build any of their metaverse infrastructure inside of someone else's platform.
So let me ask you another question then. Are domains as we see them today, there's .com, .co, .io, .ai. Edge of Company actually co-owns a new domain called .podcast, which is pretty fun. Are these domains relevant to a metaverse browser?
Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be a different construct, because now you need something that's volumetric. You need like XYZ coordinate space. And so what is required in a metaverse browser, which is what makes it very different than a web browser, is it needs what is called a spatial fabric, or a massive universal map system that brings this all together. The same way that ICANN brought the World Wide Web together with .coms and .nets, as you mentioned. And so we have a universal map system that's part of the second piece of our technology. So not only have we solved the scale part, which is considered a problem that is impossible to solve, we have IP that allows us to actually create a single persistent unlimited map, which is inclusive of a digital twin of our solar system and Earth 1-to-1 scale. And the reason why you're like, well, why do we need a map that big? Well, if I'm walking around with AR glasses, the glasses and the browser needs to know where I'm standing and be able to feed me different information from different servers based on where I'm standing. So as I walk near Walmart, I'm going to now connect to their servers that present me either NPC or AI that greets me or helps me find product. Or if I'm an employee, it tells me where to move stuff from the shipping area to pallets and storage, or on planograms, like on shelves and whatnot. And so when these companies, as Dean mentioned, moves from web infrastructure to spatial infrastructure, they need a way to connect that type of content. And they're not going to put that inside of a company. They're not going to put their entire business and all the software that they run inside of a walled garden platform. They're going to want to run that on their own servers. And the browser enables that to be an agnostic piece of software that connects you to that information while residing all the ownership and information and data with those companies. RP1 doesn't own any of that data because we're just connecting you to it. No different than Chrome doesn't own your website data as it connects you to your website.
Very interesting. So let's talk a little bit about the economics under the hood. This is a blockchain project. Blockchain projects oftentimes have tokenomics. And in the case of RP1, you have this vision of land as well. I'm curious how your tokenomics, the vision of land, the metaverse experience all fit together.
Yeah, I'd actually say that we actually don't do the land. Land is actually it has some negative connotation, because I think everyone is providing land and you can go buy it, and there's this whole thing. This is the opposite of a game or a way to get rich fast or whatnot. The purpose is, since you don't build in RP1, the land and the experience resides on your servers. We're just the map system that stitches those experiences together based on location. And so you basically, as a builder, you have two options. You have an option that I have something in the real world that I have ownership in. So let's say that I have a house in the US somewhere. I automatically have rights to that XYZ coordinate space inside the universal map system of the browser. And I will be able to run my own digital twin, my own assets and everything on my own server. So the land, in theory, really sits on your servers. We're just pointing it at a coordinate space that starts displaying that area. I think when you think of Web3 and those technologies, there's a handful of ways that it can participate. One is digital ownership, so that if I want to confirm my ownership of my house and then I sell my house, how do I transfer the digital rights to that XYZ coordinate space to the new owner? And that's where Web3 and blockchain technologies can really have a great part. A second area is payments. So whether you're using fiat or Visa or MasterCard or PayPal or Venmo, or you want to use, Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other type of blockchain type payments, the whole purpose of the browser is to be agnostic, where all of these payment systems can basically connect their payments through what is called a real-time service, and which they own and run on their own software, and anyone can choose on their location. So if you have a store, you can pick which payments you want to offer to your customers, whether it's Web3 type payments or regular fiat or other types of payments. So that's a massive open ecosystem where now it's very easy to connect to these ways, or different wallets, if you will. And so it really becomes the kind of the central point of bringing the Web3 community together to be able to offer payments in unlimited amount of content, whether it's in the real world or in virtual spaces.
Cool. Anything to add there, Dean?
We will, the browser itself is not a blockchain product per se. It's just a standard piece of software. It browses content. RP1 is really split. We are developing the browser, but our product, our forte is in the spatial fabric. And so we will be offering this digital twin of Earth, and we will also, soon enough, at some point, be offering a token that will bridge the entire planet, so that no matter where you are, you can have a consistent, very, very economical, very, very fast and inexpensive token to transact. So that would be.
I'm just curious with the the replica of Earth. Is it gonna be like at this exact time in space, or are you going to dial back maybe before the fires in LA and, make sure that there's not these like burned areas of our beautiful city?
So we're mapping the coordinates of Earth so that when you have a pair of glasses, or through your phone or whatever device you have that will position you, we will know where you are, and we will put you. It's not our job to replicate what's going on in the world. Home Depot is going to handle what's going on inside of Home Depot. Costco is going to handle what's going on.
The world is always changing, right? I mean, every day.
Right. So we're not building a visual representation of it. We're building an informational representation of it. So we'll know where all the houses are. We'll know where all the streets are. We'll know where the hills are. We'll know where all the dividing lines are between LA County and Ventura County, or we'll know exactly when you cross over between Portugal and Spain. We will have that there, but the people who are running their locations, it'll be up to them what they want to represent. However, there could be other alternate versions of Earth floating out there in the galaxy, or in the solar, or in the universe, because our map is actually that big. We have room for hundreds and hundreds of copies of Earth. Maybe you want to visit a version of Earth from the 1500s, or maybe from BC, or before Google Earth was born, or something like that. You can go. People can go ahead and rebuild a different timeline of Earth if they want. It's also important to note that that we're replicating faithfully as much as we can our solar system, so that as the Earth spins, wherever you are on the planet in real life, the sun and the sunsets and the sunrises and the shadows will all be identical. The seasons will be identical. The tilt of the Earth, everything within our solar system is going to be represented as accurate as we can. Maybe you'll be able to even watch a solar or lunar eclipse from out in space in RP1 rather than at home. So if the eclipse isn't going to pass right over you, you can just put on your VR headset and go watch it from space. That would be really cool.
Sounds pretty cool, and looking forward to getting a little bit of a demo of what you guys have been up to soon. But one of my last questions for this segment is in terms of just AI. I mentioned it earlier. You can't really go on any website related to the news and not see some new update about AI and LLMs and machine learning. In the RP1 vision of the Metaverse browser, how does AI evolve in these spatial environments, and in particular persistent multi-user worlds? Where does that fit in, and how are you guys using AI?
So I have a statement when it comes around that. We have a choice as an entire community. We can either be in a closed or an open ecosystem. And what I mean by that is eventually the manufacturers of AR glasses or some of these devices will have hard-coded their AI solution that you have to interact with, and you won't have a lot of choices. And this is actually not the soul, but the biggest reason for the browser is the future of the internet is going to consist of millions of real-time services, whether that's AI or anything imaginable, a chess software. It's basically real-time software that you connect to and you can interact with. And so the purpose of the browser is to create an open ecosystem where you can pick and choose the type of AI solutions that you need, whether you're a company that is interacting with their customers, or if you're a customer walking around the metaverse and you want to have your own AI assistant or a digital pet, or let's say someone wants to build a software that there's a plant that grows in your house or in a conference room or something. These are all real-time software that's running based on the location that you're at, whether in the real world or in virtual spaces. And the purpose of the browser is to create an agnostic environment where anyone can build an AI solution, and the person connected to the browser can use that AI solution without being restricted based on a wall platform saying you can only do X, Y, and Z. And this is really, really important. I don't think people are thinking about this because everyone's building all these solutions. When the dust settles, you're going to need an open ecosystem where anyone can build an AI service and enable someone, whether you're a business or a consumer, to connect to it in real time. And so it's really important that it's not just about RP1 being successful, but it's about what RP1 stands for, which is a browser that creates a massive open ecosystem where millions of AI and real-time services, you can pick and choose what you want to use based on the company or individual or what you're trying to accomplish.
Can I give an example of that I think will hit home?
Sure.
When you have your AR glasses on in a few years and you walk into, let's say, Costco's metaverse infrastructure will take over in that location. And Costco will pick and choose the AI technology or any services that are most appropriate for their business. So Walmart's famous, they're famous for having greeters at their door. So Costco's got greeters at their door too, but someone can actually meet you in a Home Depot. Let's say when you walk in, it can say, "Hi, welcome. I am Arthur. What can I help you find?" And that AI agent will walk with you the entire time you're in the store, whatever you need to ask. But we don't provide that. The browser doesn't provide that. The open ecosystem allows Home Depot or Costco or any of these companies to deploy whatever AI solutions they want. And there will be AI providers that are specifically designed to service big box stores like the ones I mentioned. There'll be probably other providers that are specifically designed to provide AI for airports or hospitals or shipping companies, whatever it is. The amount of software the explosion of software that we're going to see in the next few years as people change over from web infrastructure to metaverse infrastructure will probably the largest software transition the world has ever seen. And
That's, yeah,
part of that.
Yeah, I think we're definitely experiencing something unprecedented with regard to sort of the evolution of AI and software and smart cities. The whole sort of game is changing as we're sort of having this conversation today. And I, for one, am a proponent of decentralized AI and giving that its full shake. There's a lot of interesting products and services coming out, particularly using blockchain because it is sort of a good tool for decentralization as a whole, and certainly with AI, no exception. There's a broader question here, guys, before we move on to the next segment, which just is about the consumer and enterprise experience as it pertains to sort of software in the next 5 to 10 years. And I'm just curious where you see RP1 fitting in if we kind of fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, I think if you I like to try to be the non-tech side and really think about just how do we affect it with all these technologies that we're describing, in this podcast. And I think the browser's job is to be really behind the scenes. And so the purpose would be is if you are wearing AR glasses, those AR glasses will just boot into the browser, or you just, turn the browser on, and now you just magically connect to all this different software that is built by anyone. And so I think this whole idea of where the future is going is that we're going to have things that we interact with on a daily basis that is built and ran by so many different companies. And it's this real-time interactive space, which is really different than we've seen ever before. So I'll give you a great example. Imagine you have your house and you have a digital twin, and I want to come visit, but I don't live near you. I think you're in Lisbon now. So I will be able to put a VR headset on and go to that actual XYZ coordinate space. And I will be able to join you in your space. And then let's pretend that we play chess all the time. Well, how does chess work, right? So now let's say Dean is a chess programmer. He'll be able to build that game of chess, run it on his servers, and we'll be able to just drop that chess game right in between us. And you and I can start playing a game of chess. And that chess software is running in real time to enable us to play that game, but it's all in real time. You didn't have to install anything. I didn't have to install anything. We pay Dean whatever he charges for his chess service, and we're instantly interacting with this software. And so I think if you think about the migration, everything has been what's called a pre-compiled application. So right now, the current software spectrum is someone builds a container that contains the assets, the game, the software logic, and you as an individual are forced to download, install, create an account, and whoever you want to share that experience with has to do the same. There's a massive amount of friction to get to that software and engage with it and experience it. The browser removes the entire friction of any software built by anyone in the world. And so you'll be able to build any experience, any software that you want to interact with, and someone now will be able to connect to it and use it without any installations whatsoever. You're talking about one click and anyone can share software, interact with it, whether it's in a workspace, whether it's a conference room, if it's a game that we're playing together, or even in a classroom where we're interacting with different pieces of software built by different providers. And so the whole purpose of the future is to make real-time software equal, easily accessible, and remove the friction for the industry where it's literally everyone can participate, just like building websites.
Very cool, guys. I mean, certainly a really bold vision. And it's been great getting to know you over the last year and seeing your vision come to life. I think it's about time for us to sort of see a demo of the product and what we've been talking about for the last half an hour or so. You guys up for it?
Let's do it. It'll be exciting.
Hey listeners, are you ready to amplify your voice in a digital world? Introducing .podcast domains, your gateway to the future of online identity. Whether you're a creator, a company, or just someone with big ideas, .podcast is for you. Own your unique digital identity, connect securely, and explore hundreds of apps with no renewal fees. Don't wait for someone else to claim your name. Secure your .podcast domain today and be part of the next generation of content creation. Visit get.unstoppabledomains.com/podcast to get started. Again, that's get.unstoppabledomains.com/podcast. Your voice, your rules, your identity.
All right. Well, it's time for our next segment where we're actually going to do a live demo of the RP1 Metaverse browsing experience. I will turn it over to Sean, who's going to walk us through what this world looks like and some of the cool things that are available today and what's coming up next. Sean?
Yep. So what we're showcasing here is we're actually a prototype demonstrating the three biggest technologies needed to power a Metaverse browser. And so we're actually currently a browser in a browser, which is a little bit confusing. This makes it easy for people to get in world and be able to see all the technologies necessary to create the idea of an open metaverse. And we're working diligently right now to build the first native browser, which is like Chrome, where you actually install it and then you get access to the world as well. And so anyone right now can go to rp1.com and literally click enter, and you are instantly in an infinite map system that is fully persistent. That means anyone in the world. So Josh, you're in Lisbon, I'm in Los Angeles, someone could be in Japan. You all click enter. If we're standing at the same location, instantly we all have spatial audio and sixed off. We can come from any device, including VR, desktop, and mobile devices, and we'll all be at that location. And you can traverse an endless amount of content. Obviously, like Chrome, we built a couple sample websites, but you don't, again, build in RP1. This is just sample locations that eventually will be built by different people all over the world. And so right now, Dean is walking around in world, and you see on screen, and we're actually at the RP1 start. And we built this area just to showcase what are called real-time services. Now, we talked about that earlier in the first segment. And these real-time services is software that is not embedded or completely controlled by the browser. The browser knows that we're standing at a specific location, and it is streaming a real-time software that we can interact with. And so right in front of you right now, you can see this floating thing. And if you were in AR, you would only see the light controls. You wouldn't see anything else. But in VR, you see both. So someone could be in the real world moving this thing. And basically, it's a dimmer switch service. And think of a dimmer switch like you use in your house. You can actually sit and move a dimmer switch up and down or left to right. And really what we created is this real-time software. And the browser knows that we're standing next to that service. And we can have 200, 1,000, doesn't matter how many people, but they will automatically be connected to this piece of software that's running in real time from some separate server, not inside the browser. And so right now, Dean can do one of three things. He can actually control a physical light. And I know you can't see this on this podcast, but you have to trust me that we actually have a physical, real light in one of our developers' houses. And you're actually turning that light on and off in real time from VR. And anyone in the world will be able to also do that as well with no installations whatsoever. It is all just works. And the ownership of that dimmer switch will reside with the person that creates that service. The one in the middle enables someone to actually control the light on a website. And you can see that it can interact with actually web infrastructure. And then on the far right, you can actually control the light in world. And you can see Dean is actually moving that light. And so if all of us were in world, which we could do in a second, we would all be able to control and see that persistently being moved left and right and fully be able to interact with it. And it's like I said, a third-party service. It's really magical. And I want you to think about, this is a really simple real-time service. Imagine this was a chessboard that you interact with, or a payment solution, or an AI that greets you and takes you somewhere. This
Or
is
a mall.
Or a mall. Exactly right. And so if you walk over to the left, you're going to see a spaceship. And we decided to take that real-time service to show how you can actually interact with things in the real world. So as Dean flies over to that spaceship, and again, this is all persistent in a single map, and I'll get to the map in a second. So that spaceship, we actually put that same switch, but this allows you to actually control the ship. And so Dean can now use the force to move the ship up and down. And he can also allow to turn the thrusters on with full volume. And so you can see the spaceship is going up and down, and all of us can control this from any device in real time. It's crazy. And there's no installs, nothing whatsoever.
So if 5 people are trying to control the spaceship at the same time, and one wants it to go up and one wants it to go down, what happens?
Everyone would fight for it. So if I'm going left and going right, whoever grabbed it first would move it. But then as soon as I pull off, the other person would take over and you'd be able to manipulate it. And at some point you can give rights to people that can control these things. I mean, again, this is, preliminary demos of technology and how this works on the back end. But the important thing is to explain here is that we have developed what is called a real-time API solution. We've named it Metaversal Model Foundation. And this API enables any piece of software built by any individual or company to be able to connect and run on their own servers, and the browser can connect to that service and run it in real time. And what I wanted to do is we're going to head over to in fact, there's a person right there. Josh. And so we can actually head over to the plaza. And so we can walk to the plaza, or Dean will actually fly there, but we can teleport. So anywhere we go in the world, if we teleport, you can also walk and fly. It is a fully persistent map. And we literally have thousands of bots. Elite bots are completely ran with their own software on their own server, just like how you log into the system. And this login allows
Got a little noisy for those listening because we have all sorts of people doing different things in the park.
Yeah. What you see in here is considered technically not possible. You are literally connected to every single person inside the browser, and we're capable of 100,000 concurrent users. So let me explain this. We can line up 100,000 people, and you can handshake and talk to each and every single one of those people, and you're fully connected. And again, would you want 100,000 people on the screen? Probably not. But whenever you go, that one of those people may be somewhere that you want to interact with, and it's all completely seamless. Now we're going to head to a digital. So the audio solution, which is absolutely amazing, is not WebRTC or something that exists out there. We're using our own technology to make this completely possible. In fact, you can create millions of different presets that change your focal point on the audio, how far you hear behind you, to the side, in front of you. You can change it literally on the fly, Josh. So if you're in a big crowd I can set it to crowd where I don't hear very far, so I don't get that feeling of too much information or too much people that are talking. And so I have the power to, on the fly, change the audio settings. It's absolutely magical. It's one of the biggest compliments we got with the browser. And these are all necessary services that are provided to make it easy to traverse and interact at different locations ran by different individuals and companies. As we mentioned earlier, we are working with OSM to bring in the entire Earth's data. So we're going to go to Ottawa and we're going to go to a location. We just did a sample data set here to show you how seamless it is. But you can instantly go to a location and you will instantly be able to see the buildings and everything that you interact with. And again, Dean is teleported there because it's a further away, but you could fly or walk to Ottawa as well if you wanted to spend the time. But what you're seeing here is a digital twin of buildings in Ottawa. And the purpose of this is, if you think of Niantic, you think of Google Maps, they have a map that you can interact with as an individual. We're building technologies that you can actually go to that location and walk and interact with people at stores, museums, streets, and parks, so that you're able to join anyone in the real world and interact with them with literally no downloads or installs whatsoever. And so this is all streaming live. So if there is thousands of people walking around Ottawa, I can literally go to a museum in Ottawa, and that museum, that building, if you go forward a little bit to that one building, that building, we have a representation of that building, but the people that own that XYZ coordinate space of that building would be able to do their own digital twin, their own scanning, and they will be able to run that on their own servers. And when you go near there, instead of you seeing the building that we're presenting to you, you would see what they run on their own servers all in real time. So this is just a baseline of structure, but eventually the real owners in the real world will own those spaces and be able to have digital twins that you interact with however they see fit. It's really, really special.
Wow. Yeah. And for our listeners, we're now in Ottawa, and it looks, all the buildings are white silhouettes of the renderings of actual buildings in Ottawa. You see the green areas, the water, and there's infinite ability to sort of zoom out, zoom in, sort of fly above the buildings. Yeah.
So we're flying above all these buildings, but I want you to imagine we had 100,000 people and one person was in each building. So you're not interacting with each person. You just interact with the person on the location that you go to. And this is the uncharted problem. You want to make sure you're connected to anyone, because in real time, you're moving around this map. You can't worry about it being one snow globe to another. It has to be instant, and the experience has to be seamless. That's the scale of an uncharted environment that we're showing you. It's not about driving lots of people in a single experience.
And just one clarifying question here. I'm a hermit. I want to be in my building, and I want people to knock on the door before I let them in. Is that possible?
Oh, 100%. So that's public versus private map. You have your own door lock and key system. It's kind of no different than when I come to your house, you can choose who connects to your Wi-Fi router and who doesn't, and you share a password, right? And so if you're running your own house and your own assets, you would literally have a way to either publicly have it being available, like if you're a park or you're the Eiffel Tower or you're the Met Museum or the Louvre, they may have a public space where anyone can go and interact, and you might have to buy tickets or pay money to get inside. That is completely up to the location on how they manage that experience. That has nothing to do with RP1. RP1 just is the conduit or the connector of the technologies that are built and the people, so they can interact with these sites, just like Chrome allows you to interact with any website in the World Wide Web. We have this digital twin of Ottawa, and you saw how seamless we can go here. We can now go to a different place. We can actually head over. Let's go to the lounge just to show another location, Dean. And if we go to the lounge, this is just another location built by another artist. And you can see instantly you're at a completely different location. And let's say there's 100 people in here doing a comedy. You would instantly be connected to their, assets, their interactions, and what they want to do there. And whoever shows up there, you'll be able to interact with them with full audio. And that person.
So this is a great location, guys, for a live Edge of Show podcast. So
yes,
I might have to work with this artist to rent out his facility and bring some cool folks onto stage and create an interesting audience and do a live show.
So 100%. And you can do that 24/7 and it would cost you next to nothing, Josh, because
It would cost me a lot of sleep, Sean.
yes, now you have access to all of your followers any time of the day and they can interact and do live.
That sounds like too much access.
Well, think about this, and let's take it a step back. What about doing live fireside chats? And so people can literally join live. They can sit there and ask live questions, and you don't have to formalize a real live, in real life experience. You can do that anywhere, and people can join.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ability to just post it on X and say, come join, and suddenly have a live audience. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Was there anywhere else you wanted to show us?
Yeah, so this is just another bar area that someone created. And again, you saw how Dean is instantly there. Again, he can walk or teleport there. But I want to show you. So a lot of people don't believe us when we say it's a digital twin of planet Earth. We literally have a digital twin of our entire solar system. And so Dean's going to start flying straight up. And you see him flying away, and we're getting further and further away from Earth. And in about 10 seconds, you're actually going to enter the atmosphere and actually head into space. And so you are fully connected. So you see those pins? Those are all the sample locations that we built up.
Dean's launching like a rocket ship, guys.
Yeah, he's flying straight up in the atmosphere, and you can see him pulling away from Earth's land. And boom, we are now in space.
Dean, how's your ears? Are you getting a little bit of... No, just kidding.
So look at Earth right there. It is actually rotating. You can see the pins. Dean, show them the pins. So you can see those are the sample locations that we just got to. So right now the sun happens to be on the other side. So it's very dark in space. So in about 30 seconds or so, the sun will come around. And but right there, you can point out, it's kind of hard to see. But this is all real time that you can actually see the pins of just the sample locations. Earth literally is 1-to-1 scale. And you can go to any single XYZ coordinate instantly, and whoever's there anywhere in the world, you can interact with.
Or the universe, basically.
In the universe. And we never got to this, but so let's say you don't want to build something that has nothing to do with digital twin. You'll actually build that outside of our solar system. So there's unlimited space outside of our solar system to build something that has nothing to do with a digital twin. So let's say if you wanted to build Avatar, the planet, or you wanted to build the Star Wars space galaxy, all 1-to-1 scale, you would have the ability to build an unlimited amount of content. If you want to build MMOs or games or things that have absolutely nothing to do with the digital twin, there's unlimited space, just like there's unlimited .coms and .nets to build any website that you can imagine. And so you're not limited just to a digital twin of Earth. This is now a complete playground where anyone could build anything they want, have full ownership. And now consumers, when they open up a single Chrome, they can go to unlimited websites. The whole point of the Metaverse and the Metaverse browser is to have open standards that allow a consumer to open up a Metaverse browser and connect to an unlimited amount of content, whether in the real world or fictitiously outside of our solar system. So it's beyond exciting. It's just, you have to experience it. And if you have a VR headset, it will just blow your mind that you're there in VR, someone's there in mobile devices, and you can fully interact. And see that there's Dean floating above Earth right now. And it's just absolutely spectacular.
Dean's having too much fun. Dean, come back to the podcast now and get out of outer space for a minute, and we can wrap up. But no, seriously, guys, thank you so much for this demo and giving us more perspective on what the future of the metaverse may look like, thanks to your technology that you've been building for quite a long time, and your passion and sort of pioneering spirit definitely shines through. So thank you, Sean, and thank you, Dean, for joining us on the Edge of Show today. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, and I just want to let your audience know that they can go to RP1.com right now, no installation whatsoever, click literally a single enter button, and they can literally share with their friends and go anywhere they want in world 24/7. You can also, we created a feature where you can actually build your own meeting space, which is basically exactly like how Zoom works. And you can do unlimited meeting spaces anytime you want, upwards of 250 people in a private space that you can manage. And in about a month and a half or so, you're going to be able to build your own metaverse servers and instantly connect your assets where people can find your content with your own URL. It's going to be literally the start of a true open ecosystem. So we're super excited to share it with your community.
That's great. And I assume you guys are on X as well?
Yeah, so you can follow us on X at RP1 browser. I'm actually at Sean G. Mann. We do have a Discord. You can go to rp1.com and go down below and on the bottom, and you can join our Discord. And every Thursday, we have a complete open session at 10 a.m. Pacific time that anyone can join and ask questions. And we talk about different talks about the browser and the open ecosystem. And we've had major companies join. We have technologists, developers, people that all understand the importance of an open metaverse. And it's been absolutely magical. So anyone can join and add to the conversation because everyone's going to build a piece of this. This is not for RP1 to build all the components. This is for, think of WordPress, think of every component that makes the World Wide Web go around. That same opportunity is going to happen with the open metaverse.
Yeah, you need an open town hall to get all those ideas to the table.
Exactly.
Very, very cool. Thank you both for your time. This was tremendously insightful and a lot of fun. So appreciate the demo and catching up with what's going on with the world of RP1 and the open metaverse. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Josh, and congrats on an amazing podcast. It's definitely awesome.
We've reached the outer limit at the edge of show for today. Thanks for exploring with us. We have room for more adventurers on our starship, so invite your friends and cool strangers to join our journey. If you're among the hundreds of thousands following us on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or watching us on Myco or YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, rate us, and make an awesome comment too. And don't forget to pass this episode along to a friend or two who would benefit from it. Doubling back to again, recommend checking out myco.io, where you can watch The Edge of Show and earn for your time and attention. That's myco.io. Don't forget to visit theedgeofshow.com. The is part of the domain name, where you can learn more about collaborating with us and also subscribe to the Edge of Weekly newsletter for the latest Web3 news, events, and show drops. In addition, connect with us on all major social platforms by searching for The Edge of Show. Join the exciting conversations happening online. Lastly, be sure to tune in next time for more great Web3 and AI content. Until then, keep pushing the boundaries. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The views and opinions expressed on The Edge of Show reflect solely those views and opinions of the show host and its guests. Please make sure to do your own research. Our show is not financial advice. You understand that you are using any and all information on or through this podcast at your own risk. Whenever making financial decisions, we recommend doing your own research and talking to your accountant for financial advice. From time to time, we may feature sponsored content on the show for which we receive value, and we may share links for which we receive a commission if you make a purchase through one of these links. Refer to our website, www.edgeofnft.com, for our full disclaimer, terms and conditions, and privacy policy.